Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I'm Lisa. Thanks for checking out the channel. I haven't done any reading as I've been a little off the grid because I personally going through a big transformation at the moment. So anyway, readings have been a little spotty lately. I'm starting to go back to work too, so I'm still going to keep doing readings, but I'm just mostly probably going to be doing them when I just get like strong energies. But I'm starting out with a Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot, and I'm just going to get some overall energies for the new moon in Pisces. So an emotional new beginning. And we'll see what comes through. I had actually pre-pulled some cards to do a reading a while ago. Oh my gosh, this one just came out on a split and I put it back and it came out again. So that definitely goes along with emotional new beginning, and it came right after the moon. So anyways, as I was saying, I had pre-pulled these cards and I had meant to do a reading, but I had gotten sucked into this super transformative moment, so they've been just sitting out for me to do the reading for a while, and today's the day. So oh my gosh, wow. Okay, so the cards that just flipped out are very much in line with the emotional new beginning, but it looks to be very dramatic, just to warn you. So you know, we got the moon, so you know, this is watery realms. This is, you know, Pisces new moon. I mean, I think that's pretty appropriate, but it's very watery, very emotional. And then we have this Ten of Swords, which this is kind of like hitting rock bottom. So there's like some sort of very dramatic ending that's happening here. And then we have the Page of Swords. So this is a message of truth or clarity coming in, maybe not in the most refined way, maybe kind of immature, or this can also be like a stalker kind of energy. So, you know, it might be like a super harsh message coming through about this rock bottom, or coming from someone who is maybe not in a totally emotionally balanced place, like, and it might be kind of toxic, you know, coming through. But then we have the Six of Swords. So this is like actually moving on from a bad situation to a better situation, towards calmer waters. But like, we're not going to get there until we hit this rock bottom. So it's just sort of like, there's only one way up from here. But it goes into the sun. So it's like interesting that we start with the moon and we end with the sun. And, you know, in between we have this release of this super toxic sword energy. It's all swords, you know, so it's just like a lot of mental overthinking, anxiety, harsh reality, you know. I mean, we're gonna have to like move through this to get from here. I mean, that's the path from A to B, you know. So yeah, like I was saying, very dramatic, very harsh. But then at the bottom of the deck we have this star. So we have the sun, the moon, and the star in this reading. So this is like very cosmic, you know. It's just like very cosmological. But this is a card of healing. It's a card of, you know, like, there's a lot of emotion here, but it's a card of healing, and it's a card of wishes coming true. So ultimately, it's like a lot of pain is going to have to be released in order for this new beginning to come through. And a lot of emotion and a lot of pain. So the Pisces New Moon, very dramatic. Okay, I'm going to go next to the Animal Spirit deck. And it's interesting. So at the bottom of the deck, we have the owl. And what's interesting about this is this came in with the last reading that I did. So I'm going to link back to that here. So it might be relevant here, but this is like a gift sort of coming through, coming online, you know, like a karmic gift. So it's almost like, you know, after all of this is being released, it's almost like there's just reckoning happening, and there's good karma at the end of this. Once we're able to release all this energy, there is a gift. So it's not all for naught, but it's going to be painful. But then interestingly, the other two cards I get are like the stingray, and we get the earthworm. What I think is super interesting about this is that we have both of these cards are like showing the chakra, you know, but it's interesting because these are kind of like the spines of these animals. Like this one's like a circle, like a completion, you know, and this one is going straight down, but it's for sure like different manifestations of the chakra system. And so this one kind of, I mean, what I'm getting from this earthworm card, and this might not be the typical reading of this card, but this is like a completion, like a cycle that's being completed. And the other thing about the earthworm is, I mean, the earthworm makes compost. Like the earthworm, like, processes like all this dead waste and like recycles it into this compost that like new life can come from, you know. But it's interesting because it's like this earthworm, you know, it's like showing this sort of like synchronicity with this chakra system in the artwork for this card, which is really interesting. And so the stingray, I mean, the message with this card is like, it's like having a spine, you know, like you have an alignment with the universe. So trust and have faith and like have a spine, you know, like be true to yourself and like your vision and who you are in this moment. And that's what's going to ultimately bring this gift through. So it's just like there's this super dramatic moment that's coming through, but like the cards are kind of saying like this is going to be super unsettling, but you know, be in your truth and be strong, you know, because you are in alignment with the universe. Your chakras are in alignment and there is a gift here for you, but it's going to be a difficult and emotional moment, is kind of what I'm getting. So I'm gonna go next to the Urban Tarot, and at the bottom of the deck we have art, which is kind of like the Temperance card in the traditional deck, but I like how it's like graffiti on like a New York City street in this deck. So this speaks of sort of like being in like a state of flow and like the inspiration that comes from that, you know, which I think speaks to this sort of alignment that we're talking about here. Trust and have faith and like be solid in yourself, you know, because that's what's going to move you through. But then we have the Star. So again, second time, when I picked up the Star from this deck too, I got Death. So this is, you know, healing, wishes coming true, followed by, again, another 10 of, well, actually, this is a 10 of Wands in this deck, but in this deck, it's oppression. So we have actually someone in prison here. We have Victory, 6 of Wands, Disappointment, the 5 of Cups, and the Knight of Swords, Game Master. So this is really interesting because it speaks to this balance, you know, and this temperance and this alchemy that's happening. We're like mixing these cups of water, you know, there's all this emotion, and yet there's like some balance that's in the eye of the storm, you know, because this is really stormy, but there's some sort of like, it's like the eye of the storm. I think that might be the name of this reading. But you know, there's some kind of healing, and there's some kind of inspiration and wish coming true in this reading, you know. But yet there might be having to overcome some sort of obstacle, or, you know, maybe someone with bad intentions even, because, you know, this speaks to someone being imprisoned, you know, or maybe having done something illegal, and maybe that, whatever that is, coming to light, you know, the truth coming out about this, you know. But there's like an overcoming, like healing from whatever this situation was, this oppressive situation. And that's been a message that's been coming through for the last couple of months. Like, I think there was even a monthly a few months ago about overcoming oppression, which I will link here. But there's going to be, when the truth comes out about whatever the situation is, there's going to be some disappointment. Like, there's 3 cups that are going to be spilled, and there's 2 cups that are going to, you know, there's like a big mess that's going to have to get cleaned up in order to move through whatever this is, you know. But the truth is coming to light. This is the game master. Like, there's someone pulling strings on this, on the marionettes in this play here. And the truth is, it's like the denouement of the story, the game master. And there's a reading where this card came out, and it was called Checkmate, Game Over, which I'm going to link here, because I think it might be relevant to this story. So this really speaks to like some sort of overcoming of a really toxic, oppressive situation, and truth kind of having to like come to light. And it's going to be a really emotional mess, but this is going to have to be brought out in order to move through it to whatever the next cycle is. Okay, so I'm going to now go to the Mystical Shaman Oracle, and at the bottom we have the Earth Keeper. And so this speaks to having like a responsibility to care for the earth and care for ourselves, and having reverence for the earth and all the beings and the creatures and everyone in it, you know, like being a player in something that's bigger than yourself, and having reverence for that, and being in alignment with what's the highest good, and not necessarily your ego or whatever your intentions are. And if you do that, if you come into alignment with that, then you kind of connect with a power that's like beyond yourself, like higher than yourself. And this, it's like having the power of the universe behind you, or the power of God behind you, to help you manifest and to grow and to like create. And ultimately, this is how you come into alignment with things that are bigger than yourself. And so this speaks to like a blessing that might reveal itself for whoever's having to stand their ground against whatever this toxicity is. Like, there's someone here in the background who's kind of like holding things together in the midst of whatever this toxicity is. So it's interesting because, so we have the staff. This card reminds me of like Moses parting the Red Seas, you know, like overcoming this just unimaginable obstacle, and yet finding a way, finding a middle way through this, what a mortal can't really see a path through. But yet this person has the power of God, the power of the universe behind them, and so they are able to find a way, you know. And this is interesting because it falls right above this star, this healing, and this magic, you know. And interestingly enough, the next card we have is magic. So it's like, keep the faith, because there is a way through this storm, the eye of the storm, you know. And emerging from that, we have the luminous warrior. So this is someone who is in a state of flow. who is in alignment with the universe, who has become some part of something larger than themselves. And, you know, this person is just, they have no enemies. You know, they're not operating from a state of ego. They're operating from a state of grace. And because of that, they ultimately are in alignment with ultimate power. And they can, you know, you see this warrior is in alignment with all these cycles of the universe. I love this deck because it's like the more you get to know it, the more you see all these layers in the artwork. That's amazing. But yes, so we have this luminous warrior moving through, you know, the smoky mirror speaks to moving through like kind of like a toxic situation, or moving through distortions, or a state of denial, or someone who's like disowned part of themselves and is not able to see reality in its totality, you know. And so having to have faith and like move through this energy, because there's a lot of darkness that's being released as we're moving through it. But again, it's interesting because we get the rainbow again, which, you know, came through on both of these cards, you know, and this is the same message from a different deck, but this bird is like in alignment. The chakras are in alignment, and so this bird is able to like move through in this state of grace through whatever this storm is, you know, and reach this like blessing, you know, because they have the support of the heavens and the earth and God and everything, you know. So this is like a really beautiful reading, even though it also looks very difficult and very it's kind of like this, it's like with the parting of the Red Seas, you know. It's just like not everyone's gonna make it, you know, through the eye of the storm. Like there's gonna be some wreckage and like people who like maybe didn't, you know, like I think in the story of Moses, it's like when the Philistines tried to cross through, they got washed out, you know. So it just kind of depends on, you know, if you've done the work, and if you're going to get the support to like move through the impossible, you know. It's like really powerful message. So okay, I'm gonna get one more deck here. I'm not sure where my, oh, here it is. I was looking for my, oh. Okay, sorry. I'm going to go with the Queen of the Moon Oracle because it is a new moon. And we'll pick one from here. So, it looks like a very powerful new beginning that's coming through, but definitely having to move through very difficult. But, you know, stay in your power and have faith, because you have the support of the all power behind you. Okay. Oh my gosh. This message is perfect. Okay. Wow. Okay. So we got surrender, you know. Have faith that you are in alignment with powers that are greater than yourself. Boundaries. You know, there is this very toxic element. So it's important to protect yourself and have boundaries as you move through this. You know, because you can't carry other people's burdens with you. This is like a powerful redemption moment. And then we have sovereignty, which is like maybe the lesson of just like being in command of your own story and your own self, not carrying the burdens of other people's distortions. You know, you're having to break free from that in order to move into your power and your grace. So that's a very powerful lesson. that's very important for kind of like liberation and empowerment. But there's going to be a beautiful gift on the other side of this journey. So it's a really powerful message. I hope that somebody gets something out of it, and it helps you to move through this powerful storm towards your redemption. We'll be back soon with more messages.